Hello and welcome to another episode. I'm Zelmont, and this is my little YouTube series where I kind of BS and play Ark, and yeah, that's what it is. I don't really have a whole lot of editing capabilities. I just have my PlayStation here, and I play and have my thoughts. I'm old man, been through a ringer on a number of things, and learned a few things, and hope to expend some of that while I show off the Ark. Um, and what I got going on. So yeah. With that said, I do actually want to put a special just thank you to everyone in general for their support of the channel. To everybody who has subscribed, to everybody who's watching the videos, thank you. My numbers have been going up, and that helps encourage me to keep on doing regular content. It's one of those things. I gonna keep it up irregardless, because I do enjoy just for my own self to expend sponge stuff. It helps me define my voice. Helps me address my own stutter. Um, and certain idiosyncrasies, right? Like I do notice how I have my little saying, like I say. It's my thing I go back to over and over, apparently. Like I was saying, like I was said, yeah. Um, if this channel continues to grow and I actually get enough of a following to warrant the store, I could definitely see myself putting that on a shirt and T-shirt, right? But yeah, no, really, thank you. And for anybody who finds themselves enjoying the content, please leave a like, subscribe for more content. Feel free to share, and comment. I do respond to comments. On my last video, I had a comment. I asked for clarification and never got. I'm not. It might just be I'm an old guy and don't understand. And understand that I am starting to get into old fart territory. I used to really understand tech. I used to be really on the edge of it all, but these days I'm kind of starting to enter old man territory where don't know how to program the basic stuff, right? But 'tis life, I suppose. That's the way it seems. Every year I get more and more that reminds me of how old I'm getting. But hey, I'm old enough to know what the purpose of life is, like what the secret of it all is. Life is the point is life itself. What every person should actually be aspiring to do is to successfully rearing children. And what I mean by successfully rearing children is rearing children who are happy and able to support themselves. They don't need to be hyper successful as long as they're happy. And if they're hyper successful but depressed, no, you still failed. you need to be looking to bring that balance. That's what we really need. I think. But yeah, life itself and everything in life is all about making more, expanding, and we're no different. Um, we think we are, but it's really just our own hubris that gets in our own way, in my opinion. I see it like it. I've seen it broken down time and time by minds far more brilliant than me, and like it really tends to break down for the most part, that it's just hubris to think we're actually different. Well, that different, right? Like everything is different, and we're different in that same way that everything is different. It's just our way of being different is being able to kind of recognize the patterns and whatnot around, which, don't get me wrong, that does open the box to being able to supersede it, but that's on an individualistic level. The reality is as a species, we're still just like everything else. It's just you find everything within ours, right? But no, it's still, you want to know how you save the planet? just let people be people, man. We're already the planet, the air's already better than it was when I was a kid. You know, like this stuff is already being addressed. Just let people be people. This idea of overpopulation is actually a lie. There is plenty of room. It's just people need to stop wanting to live in cities so bad. Like really, like that's really the way it breaks down. We need to use our resources a little more efficiently. But otherwise, it's really just people need to stop wanting to live in cities. You need to start wanting to have a country home, essentially. Or well, not even that per se, but like go live in a town instead of a city, right? We need to stop with this uber urban environments where people are living on top of people on top of people. Oh no, you tend to have I don't know. It seems to me you have a bit of a disconnect when people live like that, and it doesn't seem to do well for the people. So, no, but hey, maybe that's just me. Anyways, geez, I've already been rambling here, and I didn't even turn on my timer. Like, surprise, surprise, right? I know. For the regular viewers, that really is not really a shocker, but I'm pretty good with timing, so it'll probably still be the same amount of time on the video, because I don't know. It's like I was telling my coworker at work. I think it's between my being a gamer my whole life and oh jeez, I need to make a toilet. That's right. That reminds me. I do need to make the toilet goes right here, and I have not made it yet. Maybe that's what we'll do today, huh? Who wants to see me make a toilet? Maybe not, but we'll probably make one right away here. You know, and for anyone who doesn't know, and I've said it before in videos going all the way back to like my earliest videos, the toilet is just amazing for getting fertilizer. Like it just is. It's yeah. But yeah, I'm not. Anyways, I think the plan for this video was kind of to talk a bit about gender roles, your traditional gender roles, and my opinions on them. This isn't necessarily pertaining nor excluding trans. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like I could see what I'm about to discuss tying in, like having anyone who happens to be trans who happens to watch, which I don't know. I don't know if I would really attract that. I do know one person, but they don't like me. That's unfortunate because I did like them up until like they just didn't like me. Like I don't know. He just started not liking me and being very aggressive, and it's like, oh okay. I really liked you. I will never like you're the one. Like I had known of the Beatles obviously before this person, but this person was the person who drilled into me a real passion and love of the Beatles. And I'll never forget them for that. Like I will forever think of them fondly for that. It's unfortunate that they grew to despise me. Especially since like I really didn't change that much. I kind of just solidified in my positions, more or less. The only real issue that I can recall that I've actually flipped on is the pro-choice, pro-life. That, for those who don't know, because that's another one that I have spoken about before, is about a decade ago, I was pro-choice, and about a decade ago, I became pro-life, but before that, I was pro-choice. I really view pro-choice, like, I don't know, people seem to get, the way they try and paint this is all backwards. Like, they try and paint it like it's the male position to be pro-life, but that's not actually true from what I've seen. From what I've seen, your default position just across the board is pro-choice. It isn't until you actually get a person to actually think about it and discuss it, and then they kind of tie themselves into a corner of either they're that tiny subset that are extreme and actually think it's okay for infanticide. and like I say, like that's your tiny extreme, that's your shout your abortion from the rooftop, and I don't think most people are represented by that. But if you're not that, tend to, like, when you go, for the most part, most people tend to agree that, yeah, you don't want it for just as a on stream, like it shouldn't be an on tap kind of deal. It shouldn't be a form of birth control. It should be, last resort, right? It should be, yeah, and even like I say, most people, and myself included, if you, like, we started pro-choice, but then if you actually get us to think about it and really delve into the morality of it, it's like, well, I guess it is kind of wrong, ain't it? Yeah, it kind of is. That's where I sit. But that's really, like, the only issue that I know of that I've really flipped. And that's one that I can look on my Facebook. I have a memory from that it's like I was making a spiel about being pro-choice, and, like, how I was that pro-choice where I personally would never want to have this, but I'm not about to tell other people how to live their lives type position, which, like I said, that's your generic, but even, like, most people, even like that, when you actually push on it, well, on the morality of it, we all tend to, like, we want to allow abortion, but with certain obvious exceptions. Like, a woman who was raped, bingo. You want to get an abortion? Absolutely, totally understand. The mother's life is in danger by the pregnancy. It's a high-risk pregnancy. Totally understand. Situations of that nature, absolutely. But should we just allow it because, it's not convenient for me to have a baby yet? No, I'm sorry. I don't think you should. But even there, like, that's one that, yeah, I'm totally willing to have a compromise to a certain extent. But anyways, I'm totally getting off on it because, like, I didn't even want to talk about that. I want to talk about your traditional gender roles. Because I think the traditional gender, I think, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, trying to spit it out, trying to organize my thoughts, right? But I think the traditional gender roles are important. I think the traditional nuclear family is of utmost importance. I think it is the cornerstone of civilization, and I think we need to stop allowing people to attack it. It's fine for you to be a single parent. It's fine for you to be a gay couple. It's fine. I'm not. But the nuclear family is the best. Hands down. By all data. Let's stop attacking it, please. It looks to me like society's starting to crumble, and it's because we're attacking it, and it's fundamental because that nuclear family, and that is what gives the best environment for rearing children successfully. And for rearing children successfully, it's all about rearing happy children who can support themselves, can take care of themselves, If your children are gonna are probably going to end up in a gutter somewhere when you pass away because you're not able to take care of them anymore. You're not able to shovel their driveway for them anymore. You're not like, there's actually, there's one parent that I know who just lives down the way from my place who, like he literally comes and shovels his son's driveway for him. Like, why isn't your son out there shoveling his own driveway? If you're going to come here why ain't you coming here and telling him to get out there and shovel it? Like, be a man. And even there, like, you shouldn't be here. Period. Like, he should, like, and that's where you let people fail a little bit, because that's where you realize, I do have to. Because if I don't shovel my driveway, then over the winter, my driveway is going to get progressively worse and worse. And I'm not going to be able to really fix it. And my car's going to get stuck over and over and over. I'm going to get, yeah, exactly. No, there's a reason people do it. You should do it. Oh, you don't want to, well, it just gets stamped down into a trail. Yep, you're absolutely right. Now what happens on a hot day when it all starts to melt? Oh, yeah, that's right. Your nice stamped down trail is now a nice stamped down ice trail. But you learn that by failing. Well, you're not going to learn that if you're going to go and shovel their crap for them now, are they? They should fall on their ass. And that's how they learn. Yeah, it's one of the things, but kind of tying it back, it's all about those traditional, you do want now it doesn't necessarily, I agree with the old school feminist, your first wave feminist movement that said the genders don't have to be tied to their gender roles. I agree with that. That's like, I played stay-at-home dad for my youngest when my youngest was still a baby and a small toddler, right? She did end up starting to go to to a day home and right before school here, and now she's in school. But before that, yeah, I played the stay-at-home dad, and I loved it. And I do have a good temperament for it. And I don't think stay-at-home dads should be looked down on. And yet right now, they legitimately are. They legitimately are. Even if the moms want to look up to stay-at-home dads, which they don't in general. Don't get me wrong, you'll find the odd woman who will. I'm not somebody who deals in absolutes. There's exceptions to every rule, at least in my experience. I think that is the only absolute rule I have. But by and large, yeah, men are looked down on for being stay-at-home dads. But that stay-at-home parent actually is important. It is really great if you can have a stay-at-home parent for while the children are young. Now, when the children are in school or are school age, you don't really need it so much anymore then. However, you should still understand one of the parents, either mom or dad, usually it needs... Oh, well, I'm getting ahead of myself here again. Excuse me. But one of the parents needs to still not work as full-time-ish. You need to have, like my wife at her job, she has a little more leeway to be able to leave work. She doesn't work as long of hours as I work. And you need that. And generally speaking, that ends up being the mom. And it ends up being the mom just the way it works. Like everything... We used to, the big narrative that I used to hear growing up, that it was media that pushed it. And it's like, no, it's not media that pushed it. It's media is responding to it just like everything else. Everything pushes it. It's overall general male and female choices that push this stuff. It's not, it's actual biology in the brain. The way our hormones work and da-da-da-da-da. And yeah, so there's, kids tend to want mom. That's my wife. She really, there's a lot of times that she'd like a little more help from me with the kids, but I'm willing, but it's not, the kids aren't coming to me. They're going to her. And it's kind of petty for you to send the kids another 20 feet to dad when you're even the parent who's closer to what they want, right? Like, absolutely, mums will get tired, and that's why they need their days off. And as dads, we do need to step in. And like I say, like, I'm totally, the willingness to help and get up, I have no problem. If the kids actually come to me, I do get up and go and help. Like, I really don't have a problem in that regard. But just naturally, kids do tend to pick mom for most stuff of most day-to-day stuff. So it tends to make more sense for mom to be the one to take that hit. Which, but like I say, I'm not saying that it needs to be mom, but one parent should be the mom-ish parent, the parent that takes that hit. The I don't think so. It's one of those. The thing I'm trying to get across is that I think the gender role itself is important. I don't think it needs to be tied to a specific gender, but somebody within the family paradigm needs to have that role. And it biology is real, and while there's exceptions to every rule, like it does tend towards more towards the prescribed genders. And I disagree with the premise that it's just from society pushing it or the patriarchy pushing it. It's, well, no, it's just we noticed and it works out best, and it's, traditional wisdom that, don't fight the flow. Literally and figuratively and metaphorically and ironically. Like, oh. But I totally do actually. That was the timer, obviously. I've heard my videos before. I know you can hear that timer go off. So I will be signing off. It's cool that I literally bogged myself down in ranting that I didn't do anything of gameplay, and I think I totally have spent about 25 minutes-ish by the time I do my sign-off. So that's a good video, I think, for my videos. Especially, I don't really have too much to show as of right now. I'm just kind of doing daily grind stuff. Little things go up, not really too much. I'm probably going to make a trip to Gen 2 here if I get any real time to play today and the wife doesn't play. If the wife plays, then I probably won't. I'll just have her make what I'm going to Gen 2 to learn how to make. Because I'm out of engram points, but I have the points over in Gen 2 to buy the engram points, so... But otherwise, the wife can make it, right? But the wife, like, oh... She plays with me very sporadically, even for how much I get to play, so... I do enjoy having her play with me, but, I don't know. She's not a gamer, and I don't... Yeah, it just is what it is. She's not a gamer. Yeah. So I suppose that's... I believe the gender roles, traditional gender roles in and of themselves, where they relate to the nuclear family, are important. I think the nuclear family is important. But I do agree with feminists that you don't necessarily need to, like, because it's one of those, I believe that there's exceptions to every rule. So while I totally agree with these gender roles in the nuclear family as the ideal and as a general rule, to each their own, man. There's exceptions to every rule. Everybody go out and find your own happiness. But it seems to me that the secret to life is the perpetuation of life itself. And, it's like I told one coworker years ago. I'm like, what the best reason to have a kid is? Because you can't be 20 forever. You start looking more and more sad when you're party hopping and don't have anything, and it starts looking a little sad. You can have all the toys in the world. It doesn't fill that void. It doesn't seem to me. I haven't seen any evidence to say otherwise. Don't get me wrong, those toys are fun, but they don't fill that void. That void is purpose. Family fills that void. seeing the next generation take over from the next generation that's what lets a person go gracefully to their grave. You know, knowing that I've led a good life. I've raised good children. My good children have raised good children. The future's in good hands. You know, the world, especially in a world as chaotic as today, I think it's, you know, like people are kind of taking the opposite, and it's like, no, man, that it's about the family. And all data, if you look, you think we're about overpopulation? Go look at the data. Go look at it. We are looking at a serious problem of not enough population in, I think it's like 3 generations. Yeah, that's a problem. A serious problem. And it's not just here, like worldwide. Yeah, no. No, you have a family. Be happy. Be merry. It's what it's all about, in my opinion. So, yeah. Go go find yourself a wife. Go find yourself a husband. Ha- have a couple good years just enjoying the good times, and in those good times, guess what pops out? Babies. At that moment the babies start popping out, you start getting responsible to bury your roots down, raise stable children, man. But you need to be prepared to make it work, and make it work. That's why it doesn't. People think things are easy. Easy is the enemy. Ease is the enemy. You don't want. If it's easy, it's not right. It's. You want it hard. You want it hard. You want to have to struggle. Don't get. And the only thing about it is don't give in. Don't quit. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I'm telling you, you'll make it through. And on that note, we'll look up. And have a good night. Later.